You're on the verge of boarding a cruise vessel. This might be your inaugural voyage or your 15th journey. However, there exist 10 concealed truths that cruise companies will never reveal to you. One of these could silently drain hundreds of dollars from your wallet before you even set sail. Having experienced over 30 cruises myself, I've witnessed how these concealed mechanisms distinguish between passengers who enjoy seamless vacations and those who become ensnared by shipboard sales tactics and undisclosed charges. By this video's conclusion, you'll possess the knowledge to identify these tactics, sidestep these schemes, and navigate like a seasoned expert. We'll progress methodically from reservation day through final departure. Continue watching until the conclusion because the final revelation is what cruise corporations desperately hope remains undiscovered. Secret 1. The Port Day Pricing Strategy. All cruise passengers appreciate good value, and cruise operators are aware of this. This explains why shipboard pricing is never genuinely static. Prices fluctuate discreetly daily, influenced by passenger traffic and shipboard engagement. During sea days, costs escalate. Every passenger remains aboard, casually browsing, prepared to make purchases. However, once the vessel arrives at port and approximately half the travelers disembark, an intriguing phenomenon occurs. The identical jewelry boutique, tax-free shop, or gift store that appeared upscale the previous day abruptly introduces special port day promotions. The reality? This isn't charitable behavior, it's stock liquidation. Retailers understand that fewer potential customers translate to reduced spontaneous purchases, so they reduce prices to clear sluggish inventory while maintaining the appearance of premium pricing. That discounted diamond ring might have carried full price merely 24 hours prior and remains overpriced by hundreds compared to mainland ports. Here's your avoidance strategy. Refrain from shipboard purchases during your initial 48 hours. Delay until mid-cruise port stops. You'll observe identical merchandise suddenly discounted. If something appeals to you, photograph the price tag and verify it later during the voyage. In 9 out of 10 instances, it'll be less expensive. Not through generosity, but because you outsmarted the manipulation. Veteran cruisers understand this principle. First-day impulse buying represents the quickest path to overspending. The most savvy passengers wait, compare options, and purchase only when crowds have thinned. And if you hear the announcement about final port day clearance ending today, smile knowingly because you'll recognize it as merely the system resetting before new passengers embark. Secret 2. The Early Check-in Mirage. All cruise terminals share one common feature: extended queues of passengers who paid premiums to bypass lines. The reality? That priority line frequently advances just as slowly as standard boarding. Cruise operators market early boarding as elite service, priority processing, or initial lunch access. Be the first to discover the ship. This sounds streamlined and privileged until you recognize its predominantly psychological manipulation. Here's the mechanism. When check-in commences, there's an initial surge. Every Group A passenger arrives promptly, generating a congestion of VIPs who all purchased priority access. Meanwhile, standard boarding passengers, arriving 30 to 45 minutes afterward, proceed directly through without any delays. It's a temporal illusion. You're not purchasing earlier boarding. You're purchasing earlier waiting. Ports function in successive waves, processing groups in batches. After the initial surge subsides, security checkpoints and boarding gangways open freely. Most travelers could proceed through within 60 minutes without spending anything. Rather than stressing about arriving first, schedule your arrival mid-window. Bypass the congestion, proceed leisurely through security, and board just as the early cohort completes their initial buffet visit. You'll receive an identical experience without paying for the convenience illusion. Because aboard cruise vessels, the genuine advantage isn't earliness, it's strategic planning. Before we continue, I'd like to offer you something that enhances every journey: the complimentary cruise packing and planning checklist. It's my exact pre-sailing resource. It addresses what to pack, what to exclude, and even methods to circumvent many traps we're discussing today. It's free, printable, and accessible below. Obtain it before your next voyage. It'll conserve money, reduce stress, and prevent several uncomfortable maritime surprises. Secret 3. The Concealed Beverage Package Algorithm. Here's something even regular cruisers seldom detect. That beverage package everyone discusses, the unlimited option promising shipboard freedom, doesn't maintain fixed pricing. What appears online fluctuates based on your actions. Cruise corporations employ adaptive pricing technology that monitors your behavior through their application and website. Every time you select the beverage package or examine the cocktail selection, that information contributes to your pricing profile. If the algorithm determines your purchase likely, it increases the price marginally to create an exclusive appearance. If it identifies hesitation, like repeated checking without purchasing, it might reduce the price by several dollars to encourage conversion. You might believe you discovered a limited-time offer, but actually, the algorithm discovered you. It functions identically to airline tickets and hotel pricing, a personalized pricing cycle connected to your browsing habits. So if you've witnessed the beverage package varying every few hours, that's not coincidental. It's behavioral manipulation. A subtle method to make you believe you've secured a bargain when you're still paying more than others. Here's the expert approach: research pricing once, then exit the application and sign out. When you're prepared to reserve, utilize an incognito browser or different device. If pricing suddenly decreases, you'll confirm you are being monitored. The genuine company-wide discounts, however, occur during seasonal campaigns, typically 60 to 45 days pre-sailing. That's when cruise operators promote bulk reservations and algorithms become secondary. Intelligent cruisers anticipate these periods. Everyone else ultimately pays what the algorithm determines they can afford. Now, most travelers assume the deceptive practices conclude once they board. But truthfully, the more profound manipulation commences after you unpack. Because from the instant your cabin door secures, every shipboard system, climate control, service, entertainment, is calibrated toward one objective: maintaining your spending. The subsequent secrets don't concern tickets or check-in queues. They address the subtle cabin details that influence your emotions and expenditures without conscious awareness. Secret 4. The temperature control myth. You've likely attempted this previously. You enter your cabin, adjust the thermostat control, and anticipate cooling air. Several minutes elapse without change. That's not imagination. It's the system design. Most contemporary cruise vessels feature temperature controls appearing personalized, but aren't. Settings are administered through a centralized system limiting adjustment ranges for ship-wide energy conservation. Even if your display indicates 19 degrees Celsius, actual cabin temperature might remain around 23 degrees Celsius, its efficiency masquerading as comfort. The positive aspect: there's a legitimate solution, and crew members understand it completely. Every cruise operator must provide reasonable comfort modifications for passengers with medical or temperature sensitivities. You don't require physician documentation or special authorization. Simply approach guest services and courteously explain your temperature sensitivity or health condition requiring cooler air. They'll dispatch a technician who can unlock your thermostat's complete range. Once completed, the cabin will finally provide the environment you purchased, not what the ship's energy management determined was adequate. It's a minor, discreet secret, but once understood, you'll never endure another night perspiring through a tropical cruise cabin questioning whether you imagined the warmth. Secret 5. The complimentary room upgrade deception. Among the most thrilling pre-cruise emails begins with, "Congratulations, you've received an upgrade." Sounds excellent, correct? Until you comprehend what upgrade actually signifies. Cruise operators frequently reclassify existing accommodations mid-season, altering classifications, not the actual rooms. A deluxe ocean view might possess identical square footage, identical vista, and even identical deck position as the standard ocean view you originally reserved. The sole distinction is the designation and the price charged to subsequent passengers. By labeling it an upgrade, they create a rewarded feeling, even if you've simply been relocated laterally. And occasionally the new position is inferior, beneath the pool deck, adjacent to the nightclub, or beside a service corridor where crew equipment passes throughout the night. Always verify your new cabin number before accepting changes. Access the deck diagram on the cruise operator's website or application. If the number is lower or closer to the bow, you've probably been relocated to a noisier or less stable section. When uncertain, telephone and request retaining your original accommodation. They'll typically permit it even if they characterize it as a downgrade. In reality, you're preserving what you purchased: tranquility, quietness, and positional control. We've reached the midpoint, and we've merely touched the surface. Because what follows next isn't about comfort, it's about control. The upcoming secrets expose how cruise operators transform simple enjoyment into meticulously calculated revenue, and how you can relish every moment without succumbing to the mathematics behind the enchantment. Now that you comprehend how cabins subtly influence your comfort and expectations, it's time to examine how the remaining ship maintains continuous spending. From your initial beverage order to your final casino cash-out. Secret 6. The Loyalty Discount Bombardment. You've achieved your status. Perhaps silver, gold, or even platinum tier. You access the application, observe that exclusive member pricing, and experience that minor pride surge. It seems like genuine recognition. But here's what most travelers never recognize. The discount displayed might be constructed on pricing that was quietly elevated before being shown to you. Cruise operators frequently employ what's termed dynamic loyalty pricing. Before promotions activate, they increase the baseline rate for authenticated members. Then when you apply your 10 or 20% discount, the final price lands close to or even exceeding the public rate available days earlier. You believe you've been rewarded. Actually, you've been categorized, assigned to a pricing segment that performs more predictably. It becomes trickier. Once you utilize your loyalty discount, you're often excluded from subsequent flash promotions for that sailing. The system designates your reservation as promotion completed, rendering you ineligible for superior deals later. To verify if this occurs, compare pricing in a private browser before authentication. If baseline pricing changes once you access your loyalty account, that's your warning signal. Genuine loyalty doesn't require manipulation. It's intended to create value, not quietly adjust through pricing algorithms. So treat loyalty discounts as optional instruments, not automatic victories. Sometimes the wisest decision is sailing unregistered and conserving more. Secret 7. The Casino Credit Loop. Every shipboard casino operates on psychological principles, not chance. It's not designed for victories. It's designed for retention. It commences with the proposition, wager $100, receive $25 complimentary. That sounds generous, but the casino system already understands your average expenditure based on your shipboard account history and loyalty identification. Once you commence playing, every action is monitored. Slot machines record your engagement rate, duration seated, and reinvestment of winnings. If you depart with profits, the system categorizes you as a low-retention participant. You'll receive fewer subsequent offers. If you lose consistently but continue returning, you're designated as a sustained engagement visitor. That's when exclusive complimentary play communications commence arriving. The mathematics is straightforward. They provide $100 in complimentary play because your average loss rate is $180. It's not generosity, it's investment. Shipboard casinos don't function like Las Vegas establishments. They're components of the ship's entertainment infrastructure. A contained system where every token and spin transmits data back into the marketing network. To engage intelligently, treat complimentary play as what it genuinely represents, a loyalty cycle. If you appreciate the atmosphere, acceptable. Establish a fixed amount, engage once, and depart. But never pursue the complimentary credit propositions because the system isn't rewarding you. It's reactivating you. Even when you believe you've mastered the system, discovered the bargains, evaded the charges, utilized every reward, there's another dimension. Because modern cruise vessels aren't merely floating hotels, they're floating data facilities. Every transaction, every login, every purchase constructs a profile of you. And that introduces us to the next two secrets, the ones unrelated to finances but entirely about information. If you're the traveler type desiring to surpass these surface-level suggestions, join the Cruise Smarter community. Inside you'll discover modules addressing concealed upgrades, packing methodologies, and real-time port strategies that enhance every sailing. It's complimentary, it's practical, and it's where experienced travelers exchange what cruise operators won't vocalize. The link's below, and if you appreciate this insight type, that's where genuine value commences. Secret 8. The Wi-Fi Data Collection. You connect to the vessel's Wi-Fi. You review messages, browse social platforms, perhaps even shop online. It seems innocuous. But behind that seamless signal, there's something most travelers never observe. Cruise Wi-Fi isn't merely a connection. It's a data monitoring system. Every application you access, every web page you load, and duration spent on it is quietly recorded. Not to monitor your private affairs, but to construct a spending profile. If you dedicate time to jewelry websites, anticipate observing shipboard exclusive gem exhibitions. If you explore spa services, anticipate a personalized invitation delivered under your door. That's not coincidental. It's targeted promotion employing ship-based analytics. On land, this monitoring type faces heavy regulation. At sea, it functions in a legal ambiguous area because the ship servers aren't governed by a single nation's privacy legislation. The cruise corporation can employ that data to promote, upsell, or even modify offers immediately. To minimize it, always connect through a VPN before accessing ship Wi-Fi. Avoid authenticating into loyalty applications or shopping platforms until you're on a private network again. And if you receive a personalized shipboard invitation, now you'll understand its origin. Secret 9. The Safety Briefing Documentation. Every cruise commences with a safety briefing, the mandatory muster exercise. You scan your card, observe the video, and resume enjoying the vessel. But what many travelers don't recognize is that the procedure doesn't conclude there. The attendance scan accomplishes more than verify compliance. It identifies non-participants, delayed arrivals, or those who disregard repeated notifications. And those data indicators feed directly into the ship's internal security monitoring list. Visitors who bypass or postpone their muster drill are frequently classified as unresponsive travelers, meaning they may experience additional scrutiny throughout the voyage. Security surveillance positioned at boarding locations and bar sections cross-references movement data to ensure those identified guests are adhering to shipboard regulations. It's not intended to intimidate. It's intended to manage responsibility. Cruise operators face penalties if travelers fail to comply with safety protocols, so the monitoring ensures accountability. Still, it's another dimension of quiet observation most visitors never suspect. If you desire to remain invisible to that system, do one straightforward thing: complete your muster drill promptly. It resets your profile to cleared status and eliminates you from internal notifications. Afterward, your cruise experience will feel exactly as it should, seamless and stress-free. By this point, you've observed how comprehensive the system extends. From your boarding method to the air you breathe to the data you generate. But the final secret isn't about comfort or control. It's about what transpires after the entertainment concludes. When your cruise finishes, your luggage is prepared, and the vessel quietly adds one final charge to your account. Secret 10. The Disembarkation Bill Postponement. You awaken on the concluding morning, obtain breakfast, and queue to disembark. Your cruise card balance appears normal. No surprises. But 7 days later, your bank statement reveals a different narrative. That's because your final bill isn't always processed before departing the vessel. In numerous cases, the shipboard accounting system closes hours or even days post-disembarkation. During that interval, pending modifications can be added automatically. These might encompass minibar restocks or towel replacement charges or unreturned rental equipment and contested bar tabs. And because the charge processes post-cruise, most visitors never challenge it. The industry relies on that. They understand you're back on land, unpacking, already progressing forward, and that few individuals examine the digital statements arriving later. Here's your prevention method. On your final evening, approach guest services before queues develop. Request a printed itemized statement and verify every charge before midnight. If anything appears incorrect, contest it immediately while the ship's transaction record remains accessible. The staff may indicate it'll adjust automatically. It rarely does. Get it rectified personally and request signed verification. By doing that, you close your account before it reopens in the system's background. It's a straightforward action that protects you from cruising's most overlooked scheme, the invisible disembarkation charge. It's not about paranoia. It's about awareness. Cruising should feel like escape, not a negotiation. And when you comprehend how the systems behind the smiles function, you travel differently, calmly, confidently, in control. Because the truth is, these secrets aren't intended to ruin your vacation. They're intended to help you reclaim it. You've witnessed how cruise operators design every detail, from pricing to privileges, to maintain control. But once you comprehend how everything functions, that control transfers back to you. Because intelligent travel isn't about fortune. It's about awareness. If this helped you perceive cruising differently, continue with this channel. We're merely beginning. You'll discover more insider analyses, concealed strategies, and calm, confident methods to travel better. Before your next sailing, obtain the complimentary cruise packing checklist linked below. It's the identical one I employ before every journey. Simple, practical, and it'll protect you from most traps we addressed today. And when you're prepared to continue learning, select the video on your screen. I'm confident you'll appreciate it. Travel calmly, travel confidently. Your voyage is merely commencing.